Let's open up EIOC2. Setup seems to be similar. And in the project, banana image worker is no longer there, but now we have this, signals. Let's open up banana listener first, as is tradition. And we see we've got this interface here. So it's essentially, because C# does not allow multiple inheritance, we can implement different interfaces, meaning just a contract. Like whatever is happening within this small little class-esque thing called an interface, take all of these functions and implement them within this class. And then you can also reference them through other objects. And in this case, it's going to be dispose. So it does something called banana toggle listen, unlisten, toggle image. In order for this to be accessible in Zenject, if we look at listener, we'll see that it has this thing called Zenject binding. Zenject binding will have a list of components. In my case, it's 1. And what I did was that I took this and I just dragged this here. And then bind type all interfaces. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Okay, so we have something called a banana toggle signal within the signals namespace. And then I'm passing it off in the pseudo constructor. And then I'm defining this banana toggle signal that we have in the class scope as what's being passed off in the argument. So once again, a wake phase, Zenject goes through, it parses everything called inject. Of course, you have to use their library, and then performs whatever is in the body. Subscribe. It will go in to this class, this signal, and then also invoke a method called listen. And then this listen passes off toggle image as a parameter. So before we actually get to that image, let's take a look at the caller. Caller seems to be somewhat of a similar setup. And then once again, we're not really defining this or looking for the scene at all. It's all being passed down through DI. And then stuff happens, right? Banana toggle signal is fired, and then banana listener subscribes to it here. So this is all that there is. Essentially, it's kind of like a very, very small class which has parameters. This class itself can then be declared and bound to the composition root, and other classes can just like send it back and forth. If we look at the installer here, we'll see the syntax is to declare the signal, banana toggle signal. We can also pass off different parameters here, booleans, enums, really whatever we like. We can define the types, and then other classes can receive it. So this is a good way to just communicate of stuff happening without having the two objects being tightly coupled on one another. I mean, look, of course, go through the documentation of Zenject, go look in the description. I've left resources to just go in and understand DI. But if you just look at the scripts, the information here of stuff happening is very small. Try it out yourself. That's all that there is. you're utilizing a framework in order to have scripts communicate with one another. And even doing so, even with just having limited understanding, DI will save you time.